All right, so the first thing I want to start with is a story that led me on a roller coaster of emotions, from sadness to anger to straight hostility, and then just a lack in faith. So some of you might have seen this story unfold on Twitter recently, and it's about Starbucks. So the story starts out like, and this is like, by the end of me telling this story, y'all are gonna be like, Knackers, what the fuck? But there is like a moral to the story at the end of it. So a guy, police officer, posts a picture on Twitter of his Starbucks cup, and on the label printed, it says pig for his name. And so this guy decides to take a picture of it, upload it to social media. So of course, social media goes fucking wild. Just absolutely like, oh my God, you know, the police are the infrastructure of our community, and how can people disrespect other people like this? And so for the first couple hours, you know, the internet is just up in arms. Just everybody's got pitchforks. They're ready to fuck people up. And so some time passes, and then a couple hours later, the daughter of said cop finds out that this picture is from her dad, and then goes to Twitter and says, guys, by the way, my dad is a complete pig. He is a racist pig piece of shit. He is not a good father. He's not a good husband. He is literally a piece of shit. Like, damn. I want to praise the people at this Starbucks for doing what they did to him. So then for the next couple hours after that, it's just, oh shit, the guy actually sucked. This is awesome. The story's like completely turned around. And again, just for those couple hours, just a little bit more, like the story had just completely flipped around. And I checked, like every time I would load Twitter throughout the day, the story changed. So I loaded it in the morning, and then I loaded it in the afternoon, and then I loaded it like in the evening. And so I loaded Twitter for the final time in the evening. And I look, and it's somebody who is quoting all of these tweets and says, by the way, Starbucks has a profanity filter when you are creating labels for people so that people can't put racist, derogatory terms for people's labels. And pig is one of the words that is not able to be inputted by a barista unless requested by the customer through the Starbucks app using a mobile device.
Well, they have to set it as their name.
Yes, you have to set that as your name. So that's the only way that it gets through. And then everybody just like, oh, fuck. Like everybody's now going back to this other side, and everybody's going crazy because this guy took this picture himself, put his name as pig for himself in the app, and then tried to turn it into this other story. And if that would have just happened, and then the secret detectives of Twitter and Reddit would have found out that you couldn't do that, that would have been like an awesome flip-flop story in itself. But then you got the daughter coming in and just adding like a whole different dynamic. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. So the moral of the story is, don't sign up for Twitter because it's a complete waste of time. But the actual moral of the story, and the reason why I wanted to tell this, is because when you see stories like this on Instagram or on Twitter and you take it for face value, there is always another side. And most of the time, the other side is from somebody who doesn't have as many Twitter followers as the one who originally posted about the story. So like we never hear the other side. So just a reminder that whenever you see a cop on Twitter complaining that somebody called him a pig, you got to think to yourself, okay, you got to look at the label. Is the label legit? Did he print it himself in his little Starbucks coffee printer in his cruiser? Does he have a brother that works at Starbucks and he got him to print the label just to bring awareness to? Yeah, it's just a prank, bro.
It could have just been a brotherly prank. Like, haha.
Gotcha. But yeah, I don't know. That was one of the first times in a while that I've seen a story just flip flop like back and forth. Like all these new perspectives started coming up. And the other side is like, holy hell, the thousands of people that spent their day investigating this story and like fact checking what a barista can and cannot do and what a computer system can and cannot do, as far as, and like somebody else went as far as to like find the county, the population, and the fact, because the original story was this cop bought 5 coffees for him and his unit that were all on patrol. But the town, which only had a population of 1,700 people, they're like, there's no way you have 5 dispatch officers on call, like out and about for a town of 1,700 people. Like that just does, and so it's like nonstop fact checking. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck do all of you people do all day?
Has it been on like news yet? Like, I wonder what, like, now that that's all unfolded, I wonder what, like, if there's going to be like a news story, like, I wonder what it's going to do.
Right. And I think one of the last things that I saw was that the cop was now declining to comment because he had better things to do with his time than like try and work his way through the story. It's like, okay.
And to sign up for a Starbucks app and then print a label and then take a picture.
Oh my
of it.
God.
He's got way more stuff going on.
Somebody's not busy at all. Which also kind of brings
town of 1,700 people. We got a lot going on, dude.
Somebody's standing outside the ice cream store. It's past closing time.
Well, as petty as all this is, and it's super petty.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it is true. It's a lesson in just how social media can be tailored to tell only one side of a story, you know?
Yeah.
And so obviously it got found out, and you know, this guy got put on blast for it or whatever. How many times does shit get out there that doesn't get found out? You know what I mean? And there's all this uproar over, you know, a bunch of bullshit. I don't know if it's because it's the holidays or whatever, but I find myself spending a lot less time on social media in these months, just because people just seem to be bitches. I don't know, just I guess bitches, I mean that's the best way to put it. People are fucking bitches, and you know, and everybody wants to whine about something. I maybe I'm getting a little bit of social media burnout lately, because I'll pull in and you try and tailor your feed to try and avoid some of that shit, but you get one person to like something that's on something that you've got muted, and it throws everything off. And I don't know, man.
And then you unfollow them. Keep going.
But you mute them.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of muting. I don't like you now, but maybe later.
somebody even asked me recently. They're like, "Wow, you've been on Twitter for a while. As long as you've had your Twitch account, you don't really follow that many people." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, that's because I don't really like people. But
also sub to me.
Just a bunch of fucking motherfuckers. But the reality is, I don't see the point. And I get it. You can follow someone and they say stupid shit. You can mute them. Usually for me, I don't. It's very rare that I mute. I just unfollow.
You just go for the unfollow.
I just am like, okay, I don't need that. You know. So.
But what if it's like a friend in real life? That's the weird thing, when it's like, you know, a person, you kind of like them in real life, but on social media they're the worst. You just like,
I unfollow them.
You just go for it. Damn.
I don't care. I mean, if they can ask me, I can just say, man, you post some dumb fucking shit.
Have you ever
I mean, if they get upset with me for it, go right ahead. And I know I'm probably hurting myself in the social media game by not. I mean, if you're looking at it from the sense of followers and that sort of stuff. But if I see someone that's posting or liking shit that I don't want to see on my timeline, I just unfollow. It's not personal. It's just I'm like, I don't
guys. I haven't said
shit. I don't want to see it on my timeline. You know, just don't want to see it.
Have you ever had any of you guys had someone get legitimately mad because you don't follow them on social media, or like you change your process with that?
Oh yeah.
Like I actually blocked my mom one time on Facebook because she woke me up at like 6 a.m., which is like 7 hours before I ever get up, right? But she woke me up and she's like, "Oh my God, something that you posted." And I was being sarcastic to one of my friends. She's like, "Oh my God, you have to go delete that." I was just like, do you really give a fuck that much? Like, if that's the case, like, boom, block. And she's been blocked since then. But
my entire immediate family is blocked on all social media platforms.
Most of my family.
Yeah, I'm like, and every time my mom's like, "So when am I going to be able to listen to one of these podcasts?" I'm like, never, Mom. Never. I'm telling, we'll be like talking, and it'll be like a fun, cordial conversation, and she'll be like, so what's your username? And I'm gonna be like, "Mom, no, Stop. Like, I know that you're trying to sneak that in, and there'll be times where like she'll be like, oh, it's your brother mentioned something funny you posted on Instagram. Can you show me? And then so what I'll do is I'll bring it up on Instagram, screenshot it, crop it, show her in the Photos app instead of handing over my photo and send my phone.
Wow.
She's like, no, why don't you show me on the app? I'm like, Mom, you're not fucking smart. I know what you're trying to do. I don't want you anywhere near my shit. Now, where's my fucking apple pie? Another half of, or another side of going over the story is there is so many times, and I love when this happens. When somebody goes up on Twitter, it's like, oh my God, I just got banned for 30 days. I can't believe this. Twitch is such a big pile of bullshit. Their staff is a bunch of SJW bitches. I can't stand any of this. I'm going to YouTube. And then somebody's like, by the way, I looked through all 1,700 of your VODs that you've streamed in the past 4 years, and you've said the N word 19,000 times. And then everyone's like,
Holy shit.
oh yeah, you're a piece of shit. And then they just disappear. It's like, you punk bitch. And it happens a lot where people they go on social media, they start complaining to get their community to rally up. And then some people who are a little bit fishy start doing a little bit of digging and finding some things. And it turns out, oh no, you did this and that and this and that. And you absolutely deserve to be banned.
Let's just take a minute to shout out to those people, right? Because the internet is typically full of people that want instant gratification, right? Like scrolling through an Instagram feed. I just want instant gratification. Oh, there's a butt. There's a nice car. There's a boobies. Like just filling your mind with
boobies,
butts,
Nice
boobies,
car.
Lamborghini, boobies, right? Like that's the reality behind people. They want instant gratification. So like stories like these pop up all the time, and whether it be political or social, political, whatever, right? People jump to the first thing that they can latch onto that they can agree with, right? That it validates their opinion. But there's a lot of times, like Jimmy was mentioning, where like or Conbot was mentioning as well, like the news will pick it up and then they'll just kind of run it, and they get like 2 days out of the coverage, and then they don't have any solution. So they're like, oh, this guy's a murderer, rapist, child killer, and blah blah blah, and then they never validate. They never come back on air and be like, whoa.
Actually,
kind of jump to a conclusion here. That guy's not a murderer.
we'll never see a news
Our
station
fault.
do
So
that.
they just go to the next. They go to the next thing. So like, what's cool? There's a YouTube channel called Internet Historian where he kind of he covers a lot of these type of events where this type of shit happens. Like Coney 2012, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And he covers like the back end of like what the internet did to try to like vet these people out and figure out what was actually going on. And it's really cool because like you can kind of see them like how fast they dive into the little corners of the internet and figure this stuff out. And one of them, there's this Reddit channel. I don't know what it was specifically, but there was Shia LaBeouf was doing some political thing, regardless of what his opinion is. And these guys went and found, it was basically a flag in the sky, right? They were able to find exactly where the flag was located. It was a live stream of this flag flying, right, with just sky in the background. And they found it within 24 hours, right? And they went and they took it down. It's crazy what's capable with like a few smart people that are good at like these little like specific things. Like in this particular Starbucks story, there's a barista that's like, hey, well, we can't actually put pig in as a word, right? Just little pieces of information like that are all like thrown in the pot from all these different sources. It's super cool to see the internet do that.
Band
so shout out
together.
to those people that do that.
Shout out to the internet sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. If you would like to catch the show live, it airs on Twitch on my channel at twitch.tv/knackers at 9 p.m. every single Sunday. If you would like to check out the most recent episode of the podcast, you can probably click this little box here. And if you feel like checking out some of our highlights, you can maybe click this little box down here. And maybe I'll even put a little thing for you to click right here. No? Bye.